Hi, welcome back down the show with me, Jason. Carry on. Right, so sorry, I've got TV up there as well, so I can see what's going on there, but it means I'm not looking at you. Just a quick one. I still have some editing to do for Sunday skirmish at Redcon 2, Abingdon. Excellent site. Shift your riffs at the end of the month. Is gonna be a mega. There's at least 450 Saturday and Sunday booked in. There's car boots, retailers, helicopters, red arrows are going to be doing a flyby. I think paras are going to be jumping from whatever. It's going to be a cracking time. The Tokyo Marui M4A1 or Adam is no more. Rest in peace, Adam. However, the ASG Strike Systems MT18 with the dodgy MOSFET and goes to auto fire, goes to auto fire as soon as you put the battery in, even when it's on safe. That has now been modified. I've literally, I think the gearbox part is back in the box, wherever the box is. I literally got it rebuilt, stripped a gear, had to change some of the gears. So I've built one gearbox out of two. So the M4A1 is now an MT18. I'll get it out quick. So yes, the M4 is now an MT18, and it looks something like this. So we've got the crane stock, the rear battery. I've put the swivel link on. I've also put the front side swivel link on off the M4. As you can see, because two guns have been reborn or have come back from the dead to build one gun, I've called it Lazarus. So that is the M4. I did have some video of the original rebuild firing, but my computer decided it didn't like the memory card and had to repair it, and as it repaired it, it decided to wipe it. Thank you, computer. So I will be redoing a shooting video of that. It is pretty accurate for what it is. I'm well happy with it, and at 10 feet, it managed to do this. Apart from blowing a hole through a mil or more of plywood on my bureau, I kind of took a couple of pot shots at this England mug, and I reckon that's shooting at more than 65 feet per second. I mean, crikey, you can see a BB that went there. So, yeah, she's powerful enough to break quite a decent thickness of cup. So, I reckon the next time I chrono that rifle, it won't be 65 feet per second. It'll be more like 365 feet per second. Hopefully, it'll be within the legal. I think the new spring has gone into the new gun. I'm not sure which spring's in it now, actually. I've got a bit of video of the dismantling of the MT18 I need to put up. I'll know which spring I've got in it by then from the video, because I'll see which one's in the original gearbox, basically. So I don't know if I've got the MT18 spring, the brand new one, or whether I've got the old spring from the M4. But it was either going to be the barrel hop-up system or the piston seal, which was why I had shit compression or FPS, because it was leaking. So I've decided to ditch the Tokyo Marui barrel hop-up system. I didn't change the barrel for the Tokyo Marui one, which was a bit nicer looking. So I've kept the complete barrel and hop-up system from the MT18. I've kept the piston from the MT18. I think I've got the spring and I've got the piston barrel. I think I've got the spring and the inner piston from the MT18. So basically, my M4A1 has contributed a few parts. I've rewired the Tokyo Marui gearbox from front battery to rear battery, which was a pain in the arse. Really didn't want to go inside, but I have learned how a V2 gearbox works. I've sold my red dot sight that I had. In case I buy another one, I'm going to cut down the M4A1 front sight here along this bar. So basically, we've still got the little screw there for the front guard retaining ring thing, because this basically holds that in. So you can't take this off and not use it. You need it, as far as I'm aware. So by cutting this here, or by keeping the lower half, basically, let's try it. So by keeping this lower half, I can keep my foregrip on, take this nasty front bit sight away from the sight picture, and just go with a red dot or a scope, whichever. So that is a little bit of work to be done. I might just cut that off camera as well. I didn't do any of the rebuild on camera because I had too much to do already. I had too much video knocking around. And to be honest, it was such a learning curve. It would have made an awkward to edit video, but yeah, it was a learning curve. But I've modded my first gun. I'm pretty happy with the way it works. We will try and get that in another garden video over the weekend if possible. And basically that's it. So I've got some editing. I've not got a lot of footage from the weekend. I've got a bit. I've lost one memory card at the moment, which I need to find, because I think that's got my camcorder footage on it, which would be really annoying if I can't find it. I don't think my camcorder's got the no. Oh, it has actually, but I don't think it's got a card in it. I think it's just an empty. Yeah, it's just an empty adapter. So this is the camera I do most of my recording on, or the overhead view is the Panasonic touchscreen full HD. Telling me there's no card, but yeah, this is my main go-to camera for a lot of the videos. This is the one that usually sits up high, getting the overhead shots. Normally one of my mobile phones does the main wide shot. I have picked up another camera. It's a bit grainy compared to this one, but it might work well in conjunction in case phones are dead, because they normally are. Especially at the moment, I'm using my don't even know where it is. Shit one. So I've gone back to a Alcatel. Can't remember what model it is. This thing is 5 years old if it's a day. I've replaced this with a Galaxy Note 8, which needs repairing. I replaced that with a Motorola while I wait for it to be repaired. Oh, look, there's a picture of Dylan on there. It's my horsey. Oh, look. And there's the thing saying, Down the Shed is live. There's my horsey. It's Dylan. Say hello, Dylan. So, yeah, this week, basically, I've been racking my brains, learning my way around AEGs, V2 gearboxes, wiring, the way the hop up and the pistons work. I've definitely learned a lot about how an airsoft AEG works. I've got my Glock firing properly as well. That's in the house. I took a little bit of there was a rubber spacer on the spring, the recoil spring. I took that out, and instead of pulling the trigger and the BB going out the barrel, literally bang. You know, I could actually throw a BB further. It was just rolling at the end of the barrel. I took that little spacer out, bang, bang, bang. It's punching, it's firing. I don't know why that's the way it is, Army armament, I guess. But we will get some Tokyo Marui upgrades in there, because it is an Army armament, complete copy of TM. That's the only good thing about it. I still want to upgrade the recoil spring on my 1911. I'm sure that's a bit tired. And considering the state of the M4A1 firing 65 FPS, I think the guy I bought them off basically gave them a pretty good run for their money over however long he had them. So that's fair enough. It still cycles, it still works. It's been my most reliable gun, the 1911, I think, to be fair. It's probably my favourite gun as well. But yeah, there's a 40 quid spring upgrade I want to put into it, which is what I paid for that, and the bloody M4 with the red dot sight that was just sold for 20 quid. So basically, it owes me the M4A1, the 1911, the leg holster, the webbing. It owes me 20 quid now because I sold the red dot sight for 20 quid. If I could sell a couple of more bits that I don't use from it, I've got my money back and got 3 guns. The MT18 I bought from White Sphere Tactical. It was a boneyard gun. It was sold as broken. Everything, I knew everything about the gun up front. I knew it had already been dismantled and put back together as far as it was. So I bought that knowing it was a project gun. I think I've done a pretty good job with it, mishmashing that with the Tokyo Marui M4A1. At the end of the day, I paid 75 quid for that. They were asking 100. It was a 170 quid gun. They were asking 100 and I paid 75. I bid them 75 and they accepted it, as I've become quite a regular player with them. I spend money with them. I've brought players, a few players, probably 4 or 5 players to them via my videos. So there's a good working relationship there with White Sphere Tactical and r.i.f.t Airsoft. So yeah, that was worth a gamble, and the gamble paid off because if all the kit that I bought in the earlier video, Airsoft Adventures, was 40 quid, and I've just sold one part for 20 quid. The webbing was worth 85. Let's say it's cost me a tenner. Let's say it's cost me a fiver. Let's say the M4A1 cost me a fiver. Let's say the 1911 cost me a fiver. That's 15. I've got a leg holster. I had 2 cans of gas. Let's say half and 3/4 full. I had BBs. So let's say the webbing was a fiver. Both weapons were a fiver, and everything else included was a fiver. 20 quid. The gun I just bought was 75. So if we take the £5 M4A1 and the £75 MT18 and mishmash them into one gun, that's cost me 80 quid. 80 quid for a decent M4 based weapon, I think it's fair play. So as long as this one doesn't strip any gears and have a weird moment like the first one I put back together did, we're looking good. So hopefully that'll go the weekend. It'll go a lot longer than the weekend, but yeah, I've been putting quite a few rounds for it in the garden today. It's holding up. I'm tempted to put the battery in. Why not? We're in it now. Oh, and this rifle case came with the 40 quid kit, and these are like 30, 40 quid. So, I mean, basically, I'm into... If this cost me 75, with what I've put into it from the Tokyo Marui, this is less than an 80 quid gun. Now, this battery I did buy for the M4A1. Oh, I hate these stocks. Oh, there we go. This battery I bought for the M4, I did tape it together because it's nunchuck style. But it just so happens that this nunchuck style battery fits perfectly in the stock of this gun. So if we extend that, it just disappears. So let's just wire this up quick. So bearing in mind, I've been learning how these things go back together correctly and efficiently. We click this onto semi and full auto. I think that's quite a successful rebuild, really. Take that back out. Especially considering as I have no experience with dismantling or rebuilding airsoft guns. I'm not a tech, I'm not an engineer. Well, I kind of am an engineer, but uncredited. I mean, I do my own car repairs. It's a cracking gun. I might just keep these iron sights or rear sights on there because I do like the way they look. But this is a cracking gun. I just need something shorter now, like an SMG. But it can be fired like that. It is a bit shorter, but we've still got a hell of a length of barrel. I'd like to cut it here and here, take about 3 inches out, because obviously we've got the thread up here. Take about 3 inches of this barrel out and shorten it so the flash hider is actually about here. And then you've got, I mean, if it's down here, you've got a really decent carbine. But I'm not going to pee around like that at the moment because I would also have to shorten the barrel. Yeah, which ain't difficult, but we don't want to be messing around like that. So yeah, as far as that gun goes, I think that was a pretty fair deal with White Sphere Tactical. Hello, mate. I think that was a pretty good deal. I paid $75 for that. I can't read that without my glasses on. That's what I thought it said. You all right, Jace? How's it going, buddy? But so yeah, the MT18 for £75 with a dodgy MOSFET. I could have just bought a new MOSFET and put on there. It would have had a really good gun. The frick you doing in hospital, mate? Yeah, so the MT18 I think was a really good bargain at £75 from 170, being dodgy boneyard stock. Could have just put a MOSFET in it, a new one. Would have had to wait for the money. I still would have had the M4A1 to repair new seals or whatever. But to be fair, for the cost of both guns, I'm pretty happy with that one for £80 all in. Hopefully I've got a decent firing 300 plus FPS M4, and I really don't like I'm not a fan of M4s. The sad thing with airsoft is I reckon at least 70% of weapons in airsoft are M4 based, which is unfortunate. But there you go. Even the SA80 takes M4 mags, but I think the actual real SA80 does also take M4 mags. So that's not a bad thing in the airsoft world, because it means if you buy an SA80 and you've got an M4, which is highly likely, bearing in mind that 70% of guns are M4, that you've got mags already. I've only got 2. I gave away all my high caps because I don't like high caps. I've got one low cap that's a bit iffy, wants repairing somehow. I don't know how I'm going to fix that yet. I made my own speed loader, and I had a diamond file, which I don't know where it is right now. You can take the file out of the tube and then just slot BBs into the tube and use the file to ram them in. Well, of course, the diamond file was filing the nub that holds them in. So it is loadable if you push the nub right across and hold them in. But sometimes you'll take it out your pouch and you just have a BB fountain, 68 odd BBBs flying 10 feet in the air and going everywhere. Fun to watch for a second, and then the disappointment as you think, well, that was 70 BBs that I can't fire now, or I'm not picking up. So I might try and find take this apart and just glue a bit of plastic or make something on the end of it so it'll just hold the BBs in better. I've tried finding one of those bits. You can find parts for magazines, but you can't find the part you want. It's typical. So that's a future possible project. But yeah, there is more gameplay footage to come. There is a bit of footage of taking the ASG MT18, stripping that down to bare bones. But cameras ran out, and like I say, I didn't do any of the rebuild video in because it was such a headache and it was such a rabbit hole that I literally opened Pandora's box, jumped down the rabbit hole, and I was in a world of pain. The fact that I've got a working gun at the end of it yesterday was quite pleasing until it sheared 3 of the teeth of one of the gears. That was disappointing. I've since replaced the ASG motor instead of the Tokyo Marui motor, and I've replaced the gears with the ASG gears, so it's mostly an ASG gun now. It has got a few parts of Tokyo Marui in it just to get it firing, but yeah, it's a working gun. So this was going to be a really quick live stream, and it's now 20 minutes in, which is kind of typical for me. I'm going to go back to what I was doing, which was literally going to get the time is it 10:15. Yeah, let's get the angle grinder out. Sod the neighbours behind me, they're only army. I'm going to angle grind this top A off, as I'm going to call it, and then just have this small post at the bottom. So if I do red dot sight the rifle, there's a grub screw in there. There's a grub screw in the flash hider. Unscrew the flash hider, slide this off, slide this one back on, or the newer one back on if I change the red dot sight, and we get rid of this A post, which sticks out in the red dot sight. So the Tokyo Marui has given me a few spare parts. This one had the swivel link that's on the front, because the swivel on this one normally hangs off here. So it hangs down this way, flat. I like to have it side on, so it swings this way on my main weapon, and the Tokyo Marui just happened to have that part on it, which was extremely handy. So thank you very much. That's gone over. The rear swivel link has gone over. So there are a few bits of Tokyo Marui on there. The fact that both weapons were dead, I mean, one's firing 65 SPS, it should be 320 at least, and the other one just was going loony as soon as you put a battery in it. That kind of means 2 dead weapons have come back to life as one weapon. There's only one name for it, isn't there? If the Tokyo Marui was Adam and the 1911 was Eve, the next rifle and the next pistol were going to be Cain and Abel. Apart from Adam's now dead. Bye, Jay. So Adam has become Lazarus. Anyway, since anyone's gone away, he's not even watching from his hospital bed anymore. I'm going to go and crack on and pee around with this. I've got shed loads of BBs to pick up off the shed floor as I do a tidy up. I need to find my memory card. So apart from that, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comments below. I'll see you in the next one.